Okay, so I'm gonna crack on. Okay, it's 2 o'clock, so welcome to my Can of Worms live, and I do have a really cool topic that I want to talk about today. Okay, so the question was that I chose to address was this really good question. Um, Hang on, I've got to go to the question. I managed to write it down. Hang on. Okay, so the question is,
Yay!
okay, so if you could touch on a horse being what seems to be a high alert mare, this can be read as not enough work, but it is always that. Are some horses naturally on high alert? Is it that they don't see the handler as the leader, so they feel they have to fend for themselves? It's probably hard as you can't see the horse, but maybe these topics, will maybe these things are brought up will start a conversation. Okay, well, yes, I definitely do want to start a conversation of horses that just seem to be on high alert, that are just really up, that are just really sensitive and worried about stuff. Doesn't have to be a mare, it can be a gelding, it can be a stallion, it can be whatever. And I really want to talk about it. But what I want to do, because this question here was posted by Lou talking about her mare, and I kind of what I did is I took the time yesterday and I kind of asked Lou lots of questions. And she actually gave me a lot of background to the case, a lot of background to herself, and what she said is actually pretty cool. So I just want to run through with you what I was able to glean from the interview with Lou. First of all, Lou said some really incredible quotes, and I want to say them because they're really really good. The first one is this: there is so much more about horses than when I was a kid. Isn't that true? What do you guys think? There is so much more to horses now than when I was a kid. That is so true. Okay? Because kids like, and there's a reason for it why kids have less problems with horses. Okay? First of all, it's to do with the strength of their thoughts. Kids don't necessarily have a lot of what ifs. Their mind and their body is kind of connected because if they're doing something, they're doing something. They're not doing it and worried about 16 other things like we are when we get older. Kids have a lot less vulnerabilities. They haven't learned a lot. Like the further you go on in life, the more kind of things you realize can go wrong and the more kind of responsibility and accountability you have. So, we become kind of more conscious of being vulnerable because there's more things at risk as we get older. And yeah, so kids are very naive. So their naivety is a bit of a superpower. So their strong thoughts of what they're doing, the lack of what ifs, okay, and the better connection with what they're doing and what they're thinking gives them a bit of a heads up with horses. Okay, so that's a really interesting. That's kind of like a whole topic in itself. Anyway, I've gone off track. Now let me tell you a little bit about more about this case. Okay, so this mare is this mare that just seems to be high alert and hyper vigilant and worried about everything. Let me just give you a bit of a background and lose insight into this horse. So it is a 10-year-old quarter horse mare. Now, what other people keep saying to Lou is that, look, she's old enough to stop being worried about stuff. Like she's old enough. But Lou says in a gutting, and Lou has some really cool gut feelings, okay? And that's what I really want to point out in this live is that everyone in their gut actually knows the problem, okay? They just struggle to know how to approach it and how to sort it, but they know what the problem is. Anyway, Lou says that in a gut, she doesn't think she might be 10, but she hasn't gone out and about much. So really, she sees her as being quite immature. And it's like, well, yeah, she might be 10. She's mature physically, but emotionally, this horse, if it hasn't gone out and about, is emotionally immature. And I'm going to talk a lot about that because this is all about the emotionality of the horse. Okay, so Lou said, and this is also really cool, she goes, this mare is sensitive like me, okay, and would be probably better with someone calm and more confident. Okay, so hold that thought. So Lou says that the mare works well, works her in a paddock. So she takes her from a yard and stuff where she's kept, and she takes her to a paddock to work her. And she goes, some days the mare's okay, But if there's any distractions in the environment, especially like another horse running around, the mare gets triggered. She grows from 14 hands to 15 hands and becomes very alert and worried. And of course, Lou finds that really off putting. Now, Lou says she tries to stay calm, okay, but she just feels, note this, very cool, that the horse doesn't trust her to protect her, okay? And the mare gets really easily overwhelmed. So she gets up and then she just, she just gets more wound up. Now, Lou's getting lots of mixed messages about how to fix this horse because Lou sees the problem, right? She sees the problem. She can see the mare doesn't trust her, right? She's worked that out. And she can even intuitively go, I don't think this mare is necessarily has some emotional kind of development problems, but also she sees that it might be something reflected on her as well. Yes, okay. Because she's getting these mixed messages of how to fix it, and she wants to fix it, desperately wants to fix it. She also says other things like even when the horse is bridled, and it doesn't matter who it is, it will play with a bit and things like that. So she says a couple of really good quotes, and I'm just going to read them out. Okay, so this is Lou talking about the mare. So her nature is that she's not super confident in herself. Okay, so I guess she needs that reassurance. It's interesting that the lady who was on the agistment property came and helped me one day to get her out of the paddock, as there was a really big truck on the property. And I could have maybe made it back to her yard, but I thought it's nice that she helped. As she's a lot more experienced than me with horses, and she just took the lead and we walked back. So, Lou's describing this incident. She can see that, the horse is probably not super confident in herself, and the horse needs someone else. And she knows she's not providing that because she's seen evidence of it. Someone that had more experience and more confidence than her. So Lou's identified that, more confidence than her, took the lead rope, and that mare was better. Okay, she was able to lead her back, and the mare wasn't as worried. So see this. Lou sees, she can see the anxiety in the mare. She can see the mare is not looking to her. She's not getting confidence from her. Okay. All right, so let's give a little bit of a background about Lou. So Lou rode as a child and then got back into horses at an older age. She doesn't rate herself as a beginner, but she knows she doesn't have like heaps of experience. She's done the right thing and gone off to lots of clinics and even done cattle clinics and all that type of thing. She rates the horse as being smart. The horse learns well. And her previous owner used to ride a bareback and at Liberty and used to crack whips on her and lay all over her and do things like that. But this is the mixed messages that she's being told by people that, the mare is putting it over you, and that Lou's being too soft, and that the mare likes Lou but doesn't have respect for her, and Lou needs to be a better leader. Okay, there's all these things. But Lou's at the point where she just feel like she's going backwards. Okay, she used to be able to ride her around, actually around a race course kind of thing, but she's progressively, like, her world with the horse is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking because this horse is just not handling anything, and it's absolutely rattled Lou's confidence. And she said some other good quotes, and I'm going to read them out. So I guess like anything, if you feel like you have more tools or knowledge, you feel a bit more confidence, you know what you're doing. Absolutely, very intuitive. Then she says that I'm thinking that she does not feel confident in me. She feels as if she has to look after herself. That's why she keeps going on heightened alert. Absolutely. Okay, this is true. And then she says this, because this is also the mixed messages messing up in her head. So Lou can see that. Lou can see that there's a problem between her and the horse. The horse is not getting confidence from her. But then she says this, because they're all the mixed messages that you get. She goes, it's like, I guess my horse feels that she can behave how she wants. If she saw me as a leader, especially as a leader mare in a herd, she wouldn't be doing what she's doing. So you see this whole mixed messages of the leadership and stuff like that. Okay, so this is what I want to say about this. So I'm just going to say, unfortunately, the comments are just turned off. I'm just going to turn on my comments so I can just see if what you guys are saying and if you have any thoughts. Okay, no thoughts yet, guys. That's okay. All right, so let me just give you a rundown of my thoughts about this particular case and how, because I really want to help Lou, because and I also know lots of people are out there in the same situation, and they're in this position where they have a horse, and the horse just keeps getting triggered to be anxious, and and they're just feeling out of control with the horse, and they can see there's something between them and the horse, but there's just this feeling of lostness, what to do. And so it's got something to do with you, but what's your approach? You're hearing this, you're hearing that, like, as Lou said, and something else she said to me, she goes, do I move her feet? Do I just walk her? Do I stop her? Like, just do I just hang out in the paddock with her? Like, everyone just gives me these mixed messages. What do I do? Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about this. Is the information that Lou needs to know. Okay, so first of all, her question was, can a mare just be on high alert? Can they just be a high alert mare? Well, let me just address that because it is important to understand this. Okay, so horses use other horses, okay, to help them process the environment. That's how they work. And they're continually, as with what they're doing, and what that means to help them process is that they're continually kind of asking, are we okay? Are we okay? Are we collectively okay? Okay, so in nature, this is done in a herd. And so what happens within a herd, there's different ranges of horses and their ability to like check out the environment, scan the environment, analyze the environment, and determine whether something's a threat or not. Okay, so that within the herd, there's all these varying degrees. There's ones that are like to have like really limited ability to do it, and then there's ones with a high level ability to do it. And the leaders of the herd, okay, are not the leader what we think. They're not the bossy ones. The leaders of the herd are hidden from us. They're the ones that are really good at going, no, we're okay. Okay, because having the power is in comfort, right? If horses can work out that they're comfortable, okay, that's good. Horses need to be comfortable. Horses need, and everything needs to be not stressed to thrive. So those horses that are able to provide that comfort and reassurance, they're the most important ones in the herd, and they're protected. Now, they have varying abilities to be able to do this. Now, the ones that don't have much ability to do it, their job is to be like the security system. They're the ones that go, oh, what's that? Is that okay? Okay. And then it's the leaders to go, yeah, we're cool. Okay. So they all work. So they work in this kind of this team to look out for each other and to continually answer this question, are we okay? Yes, we're okay. Everyone chill out and don't be stressed and thrive, okay, and survive. So that's how it works. Okay, all right. Now, I'm just going to pause there. So we just learn about horses have this way. That's how they act. They're a herd animal. They work together, okay, to work out whether they're okay. And they work together to process stress and to feel calm, okay, to have calm and to be relaxed, because you need to be relaxed and not stressed to thrive, okay? So I'm just going to go and just look at your comments now. Okay, so Lindsay said, does Lou groundwork the horse? Very good question, Lindsay. Hang on to that. Nancy said, I had the same issues with my mare and hand walked and did a lot of groundwork and just hung out with her. Beautiful. So you did everything. Okay, so that's really cool. And hang on to those thoughts. Beck has said, Shelley, sometimes are we so worried about what the horse is doing rather than just getting on with the job that we make the horse even more nervous? Absolutely, Beck, sorry. Absolutely, that's what can happen. And I'll tell you what, it's when we do that is because we're at the end of our knowledge. Okay, so this horse, you handed me, and I'll talk about this in a minute too. You handed me the lead rope of this horse. I know what to do with it. Okay, I know what's going on and I know what to do. And I'm going to explain in this what to do. Lindsay said mares are entire. Yes, I know they are entire too. Very true. All right, so getting back to it. Okay, so I've put this thing out. Horses are a herd animal. They work together to work out whether they're okay. They don't act alone, they act together. And yes, within a herd, there's a different, what's known as herd dynamics. And there's varying degrees of this ability to process the environment. Okay, now what happens? We go and domesticate the horse, right? We go use individual horses all by themselves. Okay, so we take them out of this herd environment, but they're still hardwired to process the environment collectively. Okay, and they all have this different ability to do it, which is true. All right. However, there's a few things to know. So from that, horses have different abilities. So some are more not so good at emotionally processing things. So they're going to be the ones that are more sensitive and more worried about stuff. Okay, naturally, there's going to be others that are less worried about stuff and better able to emotionally process. So there is variation among horses. However, even the most emotionally stable horse on the planet can be turned into a neurotic, freaked out creature if it's just purely placed in a chronically stressful environment with lots of things on them. It's like with people, you can take the most stable, easygoing person, but if you can go and stress that human out. Okay, you can go and break that human mentally and physically and emotionally. Okay, that's possibly done. And unfortunately, when we take horses out and we domesticate them, a lot of the way that we keep them, it actually does that. So we know that if we go take people, the most one of the most cruelest things you can do to a person is put it in solitary confinement. Okay, that can break a human because we're social creatures as well. Yet we go and put horses in social. We go put horses in. We can put them in solitary confinement as well, and that can be very damaging. Okay, so remember that. So yes, horses come in all varying abilities in their emotional processing abilities. However, the way we keep them can really disrupt that. And not only that, the way they grow up can really make them quite dysfunctional as well. So what we have are horses that are kind of like, they've got to be helped in this department. Even the most ones that are naturally with their DNA have the ability to do it have to be set up to be able to do it well. So what happens is that it doesn't matter of the degree of a horse's ability to emotionally process, we can help them. But what has to happen is that we've got to teach the horse how to look to us to be the filter to help them emotionally process. So we have to train them to do it because they're not going to look towards us. We're a human, we're not a horse. Okay, so it's not natural. So you got to teach them how to do it. Then get this right, you have to be a really good emotional filter for a horse. And that's not natural to us. So we have to learn how to do that. So the beautiful thing of this story here is you can see that Loon actually intuitively knows all this. But what she's been up against is all these different kind of like, you got to do this, you got to do that, without being able to see the whole like kind of holistic thing. So what I've been doing, like, so what happens is, just say with me personally, I was someone, a human that wasn't very good at doing this. Okay, so I had to work out a lot of things about myself, and then I had to learn a lot of things about horses and actually then map out what actually has to happen. Okay, there's actually a process. So what actually has to happen is you got to learn how to teach the horse how to look towards you as the filter. Okay, and to do that is a bit complex because you got to talk, you got to learn how to communicate with the horse. You got to learn how to influence that horse. But then as well, you can learn all the training skills on the planet and you can study everything about horses, but you won't be very good at it, right? Because there's a problem inside you. And the problem is that you're a human and you got to learn how to be a human for a horse. Okay? So that's why we get nerves and confidence issues and stuff like that. Okay, and as soon as you get nerves and confidence issues, which is a purely natural human living thing to do, okay, you've got to overcome all that because when that's inside you, that can actually disrupt this ability to become the filter for the horse. Like if you're worried about things yourself, or you're worried about the horse and you don't trust the horse won't trust you, and then they're not going to use you as a filter. Okay, so what has to happen is, as I said, you got to learn how to be calm. You got to learn how to teach the horse to look to you to help them process whether they're safe or not in their environment. Okay, and then you've got to become the person that's good for a horse. So that's why I've identified there's things you got to know about horses. There's things you got to know how to do with horses. Okay, how to actually work and influence them, and communicate with them clearly and motivate them to follow you. And part of that following you is to mentally follow you and look to you to answer that question. Am I okay? Are we safe? This environment's different. Is it safe? Okay. And then you got to have that knowledge about yourself to make sure that you're being a human that a horse can look towards. And those things are all learnable, absolutely learnable. And it doesn't matter how old you are. So this is what I would recommend. So this is what I wrote out. This is the advice I give. So you come to me and you say, I've got this problem with a horse. What can I do? Okay, how do I do it? All right, so to help this horse, right, I have to change Lou. I got to change Lou. I got to make Lou me. Okay, the person that can look at that horse, understand what's going on with that horse, understand how to help that horse feel better, follow me be the filter, so communicate with it, motivate it, all those type of things, teach it how to be with me and navigate my world. And then so someone who understands what's happening, someone who has the skills to be able to teach the horse to follow her and to look to Lou as the filter. And then to add to that Lou has to have confidence, okay, and has to have trust built in herself to handle the horse, okay, and trust in the horse, okay, and understand how that's all set up inside her. So there's a plan. So it's kind of been lucky. Well, lockdown because of COVID has not been lucky in one regards, but it has been kind of good in another, is that I've been forced to sit around and kind of twiddle my thumbs and can't go play with horses and help people one-on-one and do clinics and stuff. I've had to sit down and I've been able to write. Okay, so over this time period, I've written 2 books and I've written 4 courses, and I really want to sit down and write my next one, which is the writing component, but I just got to wait till I get some more footage. So I've sat down and I've mapped it all out. So the first thing I recommend Lou do is that she understand her confidence and fear. You got to overcome that first. Okay, that's a human thing that's happened. You got to overcome that first. So the first thing you got to do is develop this self-awareness of what's going on inside you. Because I'm telling you, right, if you don't have self-awareness of what's going inside you, if you don't become aware of your thoughts and within you, you can never look at another person or another animal and be able to have empathy or compassion for them. If you don't, you've got to understand self-awareness is needed first before you can truly be empathetic or compassionate. They've actually done research on it. They know that. We know that from research, that the most compassionate and empathetic people that are the best at reading others are those that are highly self-aware of themselves. So that's the first thing. So if you're suffering from nervousness or confidence issues, you got to shine a spotlight on within you and become aware of what's going on. Okay, and there's actual practical way of dealing with those things to set yourself up with a plan to overcome that. Absolutely doable. Okay, so what I did is I wrote that book on it. So that book, Confidence and Trust, is about getting that self-awareness for yourself. So, and it's really cool when people read it actually. They always come back to me and they laugh and go, that is all true. That is true. I am a control freak. Okay, that's true. I do have this really bad sense of that, I won't be able to do this. I do think I'm uncoordinated. There's all these things. There's all these hidden layers to confidence issues. It's just not the fact that you fell off and you got this fear in your head. It's deeper than that. And you got to understand that deeper. Then what you got to do, so you got to become self-aware of your thoughts and understand what makes you tick. okay, what are your little barriers within you, okay, and how it all works. Then you got to connect your mind and your body together, because to communicate with a horse, horses are gesture communicators. They're reading your body, how you move, the energy you give off. Okay, and that all starts with the thoughts in your head. Okay, so you got to connect your thoughts with your body. Now, what happens with people is that, especially when they've got nerves or they're not sure what they're doing, their minds kind of all scattery over the place and they've got no connection with their body. So you'll see them, and it's really cool when we go through, just say people take videos of themselves. That is so gold. Anyone that's been doing my challenges, take a look at the videos of yourself, look at them carefully, look at how, just say, messy you are with your hands with the rope, okay, to start with, and look how quiet you've got. So it's been really cool following people doing my courses, because you see them at the start, they're real clumsy, okay, they're kind of all over the place with their body, and you see them getting quieter and quieter and quieter as they work the horse, because their mind and their body becomes connected, and your thoughts need to be connected to your body, so that when you talk to the horse or when you're giving it signals and you're communicating, they're not seeing this mismatch of what's going on in your head to what's going on in your body. Okay, because when your thoughts are somewhere else, it does come out on your body, especially your energy and stuff like that that you give out. It's all like hectic, you're not clear. And that's how the horse reads you. They read what your body's doing, and they read what your emotions are saying, because they can read that and smell that and feel your heartbeat and a whole lot of other things. Okay, so they can sense all that. So you got to align all that. And practicing certain movements of groundwork and round penning, it kind of acts like martial arts. And the power of martial arts is that it aligns mind, body, and spirit. That's what it talks about. Well, groundwork is exactly the same as that. It's actually like a martial arts. That's why I keep calling it Tai Chi. Okay, you got to do Tai Chi moves, because it's aligning your mind and your body. It's setting your body and mind up to be able to communicate clearly with a horse. Okay, not only that, it's giving you the skills to have to be able to handle and influence and motivate that horse to teach it things as well. Okay, so that makes you, when you become aligned and you can talk and you can motivate and you can influence a horse and you become one, you also become that filter, okay? That instead of being worried about what's over there and worried if your horse is going to get worried about that and having a whole lot of what ifs, you're just the one, okay? You're riding over there, you're guiding the horse over there, and so therefore you're not impacted by the environment as much. So you become this really good filter for the horse. And so that's why when, I gave a really cool case study a couple of days in the challenge that I'm doing, interpreting horse behavior, where I had someone that was like, the horse would work beautifully for me and be really calm. And as soon as I handed that lead rope over to them, the horse would just become anxious and run over the top of its owner that I was trying to help. The horse just had zero tolerance for the person. With me, I was a really good filter, and he would follow me. I was really clear. As soon as she took over the lead rope, it was just like he had no trust for her. She was messy. She just made him like emotionally unstable, and he responded like that. So that's how you help this horse, by changing within yourself. That's what Lou has to do. Change within. It can be gradual, and as you change, the horse changes. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to your comments now to see if you have any thoughts about that. But I hope that you found that kind of interesting. So I'm just going to have a look at some thoughts. If you guys have any thoughts, let me know. So I don't know if people have written comments or they haven't, because it's just, I don't even know whether I've even maybe dropped out or something like that. So no extra comments, which is cool. So so just to reiterate, can mares be a high alert mare? Well, yeah, there are varying degrees of horses and their ability to be emotionally kind of triggered and worried about their environment. Okay, horses sit on a spectrum. Within a herd, it's called herd dynamics, their ability to emotionally process the environment. So that is correct, okay? However, we have to replace the herd. When we work with them, we become one, and the horse has to look towards us. We've got to become that filter, the horse that continually says to the horse, we're okay. All right. And you've got to teach the horse to do that, but you've got to become that person as well. And there's a lot of stuff you've got to learn about you, self awareness about yourself, and this aligning of your mind and your body through actual skills and groundwork and learning groundwork has this great ability to connect you, which then you can grow into the saddle. Sometimes finally got some more comments. Cool. So Lindsay has said, "Is this like working out a strategy?" Absolutely, you got to work out what it is. You got to become aware what you got to do, because at the moment people just get lost with horses, and it's just the most. I remember be feeling like this, just looking at my horse going, what the hell? And I just wanted to treat him like, because I'm a health professional and a pharmacist, I just wanted to find out what drug he needed to help him, which is really terrible, or what he needed to fix him. And I tell you what, it was the most empowering thing when I worked out. I just had to fix myself. I just had to learn some stuff. I just had to practice some stuff. And then over the time, I've just learned more layers to it that make it more and more effective. And just being able to help people like that and to give them the heads up's been a really rewarding thing. So it is. So I give you the strategy. It's like I've worked it out. You got to do this and this and this. And with the strategy, when you know how it all works, you can look at all the horsemanship programs and all the training programs, and it all makes more sense. It's like, that's why they get you to do this. That's why they get you to do that. Because other clinicians, of course, they kind of worked it out as well, but they kind of worked it out just by working with horses kind of thing. So there's lots of ways to do it. I've just, because human learning's my thing, I've mapped it out more and like, hey, this is what you got to do. This is what you learn. This is how all this affects you. Whereas other clinicians have kind of worked out, well, we can, fix horses this way, and you do that. And because along the way that helps fixes you. But that's why a whole lot of people go and do things that are said to be, going to change their horse, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work because what they've kind of done hasn't worked on those barriers within you, and you need to know yourself. Okay. So just going back to some more comments. So Jenny, interesting, Shirley. I think my horse has trust in me on the ground, but not in the saddle. Absolutely, Jenny. And what that is, that's a really good comment. A horse that's okay on the ground, but not in the saddle. Okay, your horse is following you on the ground, but it's not following you when you're in the saddle. Okay, and there's a way to actually do that. That's a really, really common thing. And yeah, I've worked that bit out. So that's a really good question. I might have to do a bit of a blog or something on that as well. Like, how do you transfer the good connection and trust you got on the ground to being in the saddle? And the answer is you got to do groundwork, and the groundwork has to connect to your saddle work. Okay, but there's things you got to do in your mind as well. So Debbie, you keep dropping in and out. Damn it. Okay, damn it, damn the internet. Sorry about that. Oh, and Anna's lost sound. Bugger. All right, sorry, Anna. That's not cool. Jenny, I seem to gain his trust, but once another horse appears, it goes down the trust ladder. And yeah, and that's because the other horse, instead of you're not the hierarchy of the filter. Another horse will be. So you've got to train horses to not look to other horses, because they're drawn to that. That's their natural thing to do. You got to teach them to draw to you. Okay, Jane's doing okay with sound. That's good. Virginia, a great topic about self-awareness. It's so important. Absolutely. Self-awareness is the key. If you're not aware of yourself, you can never be a filter for a horse, okay? Because you just react. You're not there for them, okay? So self-awareness is really important. Self-awareness has got nothing to do with like how much you care or how clever you are or anything like that. It's a special set of skill set that horses, it's actually the good thing about horses. It's actually the gift that horses give you, is an incredibly deep sense of self-awareness. Yeah, and that's kind of the gold that they give you. I could talk about that for a long time. Nancy, I'm feeling the same as Jenny. My man, no issues now, but my gelding who came off is making me anxious, anxiety skyrocket on the ground. On the ground we are good, but in the saddle, different story. Yeah, Nancy, you're being triggered in the saddle, and that emotion is flowing through to him. So you're being a really good filter on the ground, but as soon as you get in the saddle, because of the fear is actually the filter is sending him back fear. So you got a fear cycle going on with that. You can do things about that. There's a we've got a strategy. We can absolutely work that out. Anna's back. Thank goodness. Okay. Okay, good. Beck, so excited for the riding course. Yeah, riding course is going to be cool, and I wish I could do it now, but I'm just lacking some footage. Oh, good, Lisa. Sounds working cool. Must be people's connection. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'll wrap up there. I hope you found that an interesting, but please, I want you to take away that this is like difficult horses. What they're doing is it's a gift to you, and it's going, learn more, be empowered. Like, I should not be sitting here talking to you. I'm sitting here talking to you and being able to tell you this stuff because I had that horse that I had those feelings for, and all the horses that came into my life and a whole lot of lucky events and opportunities that happened to me allowed me to discover that the answer to that horse lay in me, and that was so empowering because, like, I could learn stuff, I could practice stuff, and then I had this ability to help any horse, and so it was really cool. So I want to inspire other people to do it. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how old your horse is. These are all things that are learnable, and it's just becoming aware of them, which sets you free. Alrighty, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you all soon. See ya.